Since the dawn of humanity, we have looked up. We have stared into the deep, dark canvas of the night sky. In its silent, glittering expanse, we saw more than just stars. We saw stories. We saw gods and monsters, heroes and villains. The ancient Babylonians, masters of the night, meticulously charted the heavens. They watched the slow dance of the planets, what they called the wandering stars. They believed these celestial movements held the keys to our destiny. They saw patterns, predicted eclipses, and built entire mythologies around the lights that moved against the backdrop of the fixed, distant suns. These early stargazers were our first scientists. They did not have powerful telescopes or complex computers. They had only their eyes, their patience, and, well, an insatiable curiosity. Imagine a priest astronomer standing atop a ziggurat in ancient Mesopotamia. The air is cool and still. The city below sleeps under a blanket of darkness. But his work has just begun. He watches Venus, the morning star, rise with the sun, a beacon of light and mystery. He marks its position on a clay tablet, a single data point in a grand cosmic puzzle that would span millennia. This was not just a job, it was a sacred duty. Their observations were woven into the very fabric of their societies. The Egyptians aligned their pyramids with the stars, creating monumental connections between the earth and the heavens. They saw the star Sirius as a herald of the Nile's annual flood, the lifeblood of their civilization. For them, the sky was not a separate realm. It was an active participant in their lives, a source of guidance, warning, and wonder. The cosmos was a living, breathing entity, and its rhythms dictated the rhythms of life on Earth. Every sunrise, every lunar cycle, was a reminder of a grand cosmic order. But with this order came questions. The predictable movements of the planets were reassuring. Yet what lay beyond the familiar lights? What was hidden in the deepest, darkest corners of the sky? This question has echoed through the ages. It has driven us from our caves, across oceans, and now to the very edge of our solar system. The search for Planet 9 is not a new quest. It is the continuation of a journey that began thousands of years ago with a simple human act, looking up and asking, what else is out there? The desire to map our world is a fundamental human instinct. It is no different for the heavens. As civilizations evolved, so did their tools and their understanding. The Greeks inherited the astronomical knowledge of the Babylonians and Egyptians. They sought to replace myth with reason. Scholars like Ptolemy created intricate models of the solar system. They placed Earth at the center, with the sun, moon, and planets orbiting in complex, nested circles. His work, the Almagest, became the definitive map of the cosmos for over 1,000 years. It was a monumental achievement of observation and mathematics. These early astronomers were not just thinkers, they were pioneers facing immense challenges. Imagine Nicholas Copernicus, a quiet canon in a Polish cathedral, daring to question centuries of established doctrine. He spent decades refining his theory, a radical idea that placed the sun, not the earth, at the center of the universe. He knew his work would be seen as heresy. The fear of persecution was real, yet the pursuit of truth was stronger. His book, On the Revolutions of the Heavenly Spheres, published just before his death, ignited a revolution that would change our place in the universe forever. Then came Johannes Kepler, a man driven by a mystical belief in cosmic harmony. He inherited the precise observational data of Tycho Brahe, a flamboyant Danish nobleman with a golden nose. Kepler struggled for years, trying to fit the orbit of Mars into the perfect circles of Greek tradition. He was met with constant failure. The numbers just didn't add up. In a moment of profound insight, born from desperation and genius, he abandoned the circle. He discovered that planets move not in circles, but in ellipses. The heavens were not perfect, but they followed elegant mathematical laws. This journey of discovery was filled with drama and sacrifice. Galileo Galilei, pointing his newly crafted telescope towards Jupiter, saw 4 tiny moons orbiting the giant planet. This was a miniature solar system, a direct contradiction of the Earth-centered model. His discovery brought him fame, but it also brought him the wrath of the Inquisition. He was forced to recant his views and spent the rest of his life under house arrest. Yet, the truth he had uncovered could not be imprisoned. The map of the heavens was being redrawn, one painful, brilliant discovery at a time. Long before we had the tools to search for new planets, we had stories. Legends of hidden worlds and lost kingdoms are a part of our collective human memory. The Greek philosopher Plato wrote of Atlantis, a magnificent island civilization that vanished beneath the waves in a single day and night. Was it just a cautionary tale, or a fragmented memory of a real place, a real catastrophe? These stories speak to a deep-seated belief that our known world is not the only one. They hint at the existence of realms just beyond our perception, waiting to be rediscovered. These myths were not confined to one culture. Across the globe, tales of other worlds abound. The Irish spoke of Tir na Nog, a mythical land of eternal youth located beyond the Western Sea. The Norse had their 9 worlds, connected by the great tree Yggdrasil. In the Amazon, legends tell of El Dorado, a lost city of immense wealth hidden deep within the impenetrable jungle. While these stories may seem like fantasy, they reveal something profound about our psychology. We are a species that constantly looks beyond the horizon, convinced that there is always something more to find. These ancient tales often intertwine the earthly with the celestial. Many cultures believed that their lost paradises were connected to the stars. They thought that the souls of their ancestors traveled to celestial kingdoms after death. The stars were not just distant points of light. They were destinations. This belief fueled a powerful desire to understand the cosmos, not just as a map, but as a potential home. The search for a physical world like Planet 9 is, in a way, the modern expression of this ancient yearning for a world beyond our own. Could these legends be more than just stories? Could they be faint echoes of real astronomical events, passed down through generations? Perhaps a bright comet was mistaken for a traveling city, or a supernova for the birth of a new god. We may never know for sure, but these stories primed our imagination. They planted the seed of an idea that our world is not complete, that there are missing pieces to the puzzle. These whispers from the past fuel the curiosity of the present, urging us to keep searching for the lost worlds of our solar system. The greatest leap in our cosmic journey came not from a change in philosophy, but from a change in technology. The invention of the telescope in the early 17th century was a watershed moment. It was like giving sight to the blind. Suddenly, the heavens were magnified. What were once blurry points of light became worlds. Galileo saw mountains on the moon, phases of Venus, and the rings of Saturn. The universe was revealed to be far more complex and beautiful than anyone had ever imagined. The telescope became our glass eye, extending our vision to the very edge of the knowable. This new power to see created a new hunger for knowledge. Great libraries and observatories were built across Europe. They became the cathedrals of the new scientific age. Places like the Royal Observatory in Greenwich were established not just for academic curiosity, but for practical reasons. By mapping the stars with unprecedented accuracy, sailors could determine their longitude at sea, unlocking global trade and exploration. Astronomy was no longer just the domain of priests and philosophers. It was now a tool of empire and a driver of the global economy. The stars were guiding us in a very real way. The tools evolved. Lenses became larger and more perfect. Telescopes grew from small handheld devices to massive instruments housed in their own domed buildings. Photography was introduced, allowing astronomers to capture faint light over long exposures. This revealed galaxies and nebulae that were completely invisible to the human eye. We were no longer just looking at the universe. We were creating a permanent record. Each new photograph, each new spectral analysis was a page added to the ever-expanding encyclopedia of the cosmos. The universe was speaking to us, and we were finally learning its language. Today, our observatories are not just on mountaintops. They are in space. The Hubble Space Telescope, floating high above the distorting effects of Earth's atmosphere, has given us images of breathtaking clarity. It has shown us the birth of stars and the death of galaxies. We have sent probes to every planet in our solar system, touching down on Mars, flying through the rings of Saturn, and sending back postcards from the edge of interstellar space. The journey from ancient clay tablets to these robotic explorers is the story of human ingenuity itself. A story of our relentless drive to see what lies beyond. The 19th century was a time of supreme confidence in science. Isaac Newton's laws of gravity seemed to explain the motions of the heavens with perfect precision. The solar system was a well-oiled machine, a kind of cosmic clockwork. But there was a problem, a ghost in the machine. The planet Uranus, discovered by William Herschel in 1781, was not behaving as it should. It was straying from the path that Newton's laws predicted. It was as if an unseen hand was gently pulling it off course. The clockwork was broken. This anomaly deeply troubled astronomers. Some thought Newton's laws might be wrong at such great distances, but others proposed a more daring solution. Perhaps there was another planet, a hidden world, orbiting even farther from the sun. Its gravitational pull could be the cause of Uranus's strange dance. Two brilliant mathematicians, Urbain Le Verrier in France and John Couch Adams in England, independently set out to find this ghost. Using nothing but pen, paper, and the laws of gravity, they calculated the probable location of the unseen world. It was an audacious act of theoretical science. Le Verrier sent his predictions to the Berlin Observatory. On the very night they received his letter, September 23, 1846, astronomer Johann Galle pointed his telescope to the specified location. And there it was, a small blue disk, almost exactly where Le Verrier had said it would be. The planet Neptune had been discovered not with a telescope, but with the power of the human mind. It was a stunning triumph for science, a confirmation that the universe operated on predictable, understandable laws. The solar system had a new member. The story, however, did not end there. Soon, astronomers noticed that Neptune's orbit also had slight irregularities. And so the hunt began again. This led to the discovery of Pluto in 1930 by a young American astronomer named Clyde Tombaugh. For decades, Pluto was celebrated as the ninth planet, but it was too small, far too small to account for the gravitational discrepancies that had prompted the search. The ghost was still out there. We had found a clue, but the mystery remained. The discovery of Neptune and Pluto were not endings, but dominoes falling, leading us ever deeper into the darkness. The mystery deepened in the 21st century. As our telescopes peered farther into the cold, dark frontier beyond Neptune, we began to find other small, icy worlds. We call this region the Kuiper Belt. It is a vast graveyard of cosmic debris left over from the formation of the solar system. But these distant objects were not scattered randomly. Astronomers Konstantin Batygin and Mike Brown noticed something strange. A handful of the most distant objects were all clustered together, their elongated orbits all pointing in the same direction, like compass needles drawn by an unseen magnet. This could not be a coincidence. The odds of it happening by chance were minuscule. It was as if a giant, invisible shepherd was herding these icy worlds into a cosmic pen. Batygin and Brown ran countless computer simulations. They tried to explain the phenomenon with known physics, but nothing worked. The only explanation that fit the data was a startling one: the existence of a massive, undiscovered planet, a Planet 9. This world would be a true giant, perhaps 10 times the mass of Earth, swinging through the darkness on a vast elliptical orbit that takes 10,000 years to complete. The hunt is now on. All over the world, astronomers are scanning the heavens, searching for a faint, slow-moving point of light. It is a monumental task, like finding a single dark marble on a football field at night, using only a flashlight. Planet 9, if it exists, is incredibly distant and reflects very little sunlight. The search requires immense patience and cutting-edge technology, like the powerful Subaru telescope in Hawaii. Night after night, they take images of the sky, comparing them, looking for the one tiny dot that has moved against the background of fixed stars. We stand on the verge of what could be one of the greatest discoveries in the history of astronomy. Finding Planet 9 would not just add another world to our solar system's roster, it would fundamentally change our understanding of how solar systems form and evolve. It would prove that even in our own cosmic backyard, there are still great secrets to be found. This quest connects us directly to the ancient Babylonians, to Copernicus, to Galileo. It is the timeless human story of looking into the darkness, armed with curiosity and a little bit of light, and asking, "What's out there?" The answer is coming.